Well, race fans, next on Getting Up to Speed is going to be another Canadian driver representing Wannock, BC. It's Luke Didiuk, and in 2022, Luke made his debut with the ISCS Week of Speed, a limited sprint deal in the state of Oregon and Washington, as well as his 410 sprint car debut, resulted in a 7th place finish. He's here to talk about it all. Hello. I'm Ben Dethridge, and I'm the host of Getting Up to Speed. We talk to sprint car drivers from the Pacific Coast, whether they race in Oregon, Washington, California. If they run it, we're going to talk about it. Also branch out a little bit, as well as drivers that perhaps are from here that race elsewhere, or some drivers that come in and try and take some money from the West Coast. In these episodes, we talk about past experience, past seasons, as well as upcoming races, as well as how's the season going. We hope you enjoy these episodes. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. It really helps us out. And stay tuned for more and more content. Now let's get into the interview. Well, here is our next guest, bringing us some international flavor from gorgeous and scenic Wannock, British Columbia, Canada. He drives the Dyer 9A Motorsports entry at Skagit Speedway primarily. Luke Didiak. Luke, welcome. I hope that you've had a wonderful week. Really looking forward to this interview.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, let's start things off. We had not seen each other for some time, well, since COVID, really. And I ran into you a couple of times at Skagit Speedway and, ISCS Speed Week with the limiteds, the spec sprints. And one of the things that really stood out is, well, we live in Wannock now, and I'm thinking, oh, it's just just another part of Vancouver area, but it actually isn't. It's a little bit off the beaten path.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, we moved out to Wannock here, and it's an awesome neighborhood. We got a bunch of support from the community here for both in the neighborhood and for my racing.
That's awesome, because originally, was it Vancouver proper, or was it like Coquitlam or something, or Richmond, where you guys were originally from?
Yeah, we were from Coquitlam originally and moved out. Basically, it's another 40 minutes away from Vancouver proper. We're kind of in the bush a little bit, but we love it out here.
No doubt, country living.
That's it.
Yeah, and for folks that don't know, maybe listening, we're talking about Vancouver, BC, not Vancouver, Washington, not Vancouver Island. It's very easy to get all the Vancouvers mixed up, so just to set the record straight right from the get-go. 2022 for you, it was a interesting year for you because you divvied up your schedule a little bit. Primarily was in the 360 sprint car ranks at Skagit Speedway. You finished 7 times among the top 10 at Skagit, one at Grays Harbor Raceway in Elma, Washington in 12 feature starts, and then did some spec sprint, some sportsman sprint competition, 8 starts. You only finished outside the top 10 twice, 6 for top 5s and top 10s, even cracked off 2 podiums, one of which was at your home track at Skagit, and a 2nd place result at Sunset Speedway Park in Banks, Oregon. How would you rate, though, 2022 from your vantage point?
Yeah, it was an awesome breakthrough year for us here. It was a little bit of everything. We raced a little bit of 410. That was our first time in the 410, basically, was this year. Mm-hmm. And then a bunch of the 360 racing. And it was pretty awesome, the 360 racing this year. We made a couple dashes and, winning heat races and running up front for a bunch of it. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And for the sport, that was it. Basically, just we were racing at Skagit one weekend, and Bill Lemley come up to us, and he really wanted us to go on that ISCS Speed Week, and I just didn't want to change my car over. There wasn't, we just didn't have the stuff to go on it. And then he came up with Kelly Johnson and asked me to run his car. And it was kind of just a last minute thing. We put it together and went on that Speed Week.
Yeah, and I was going to say a 7th place result for a 410 start at Skagit, which is a good result, good quality result for you guys. Yes, talking about the ISCS Speed Week, which is the Interstate Sprint Car Series, a limited or sportsman sprint series that was started up some years ago. How fun was that going to places? I know that it was a new team that you were working with the Johnson family, but to go to places that you'd raced before, did that give you a bit of an advantage, you feel like?
Yeah, the coolest part was like we went to all those same tracks that we used to race with back in the day for the Northwest ASCS deal. It was all those awesome Oregon tracks that we hadn't been to in several years. There was the COVID got in there, and then life just got busy. We couldn't do a bunch of traveling, and it got to go down to all those awesome tracks again. And it was a bunch of help already been there one time or two times before in my life, and yeah, we had some decent success there.
Yeah, Coos Bay Speedway, Cottage Grove Speedway, Sunset Speedway Park, and Grays Harbor Raceway were the venues. And yeah, no, you seem to take to it like fish to water, and and there was some pretty tough competition there too.
Yeah, it was. Felt like the whole week we were chasing Jake Wheeler, but it was fun, man. Like we were up front every night and just came out of the box just fast. We were qualified quick time a couple times, and basically those last two nights, I think it was the Friday night at Elma. We led a whole bunch of it and then had a motor issue and ended up blowing up the motor, and that's why we didn't finish. But other than that, it was pretty good.
Did you feel like that was a big confidence booster for the rest of the year, or a momentum swinger?
Yeah, it's just everything started clicking together and started rolling together, and just a bunch of laps in race cars just really helps. You're just, especially when you're running up front, running with better people. Mm-hmm. It's just big confidence booster, that's for sure.
Yeah, and then rest of the year you felt pretty good once you had that big, large stint, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. It's when you're in the race car back to back every night, back to back, you just it becomes more like like a job. You just get in there and know what you got to do. You're driving to the next track, you're servicing the car, you're just got everything going on. It's a pretty cool deal.
Yeah, when you go back to normal life, it's a little bit surreal. Like, wait, why am I not at a racetrack? Why am I not in a race car?
That's right. Yeah, it's definitely pretty fun. It's a fun deal, and then you meet so many cool people along the way, right? You meet all different people that are experiencing the same thing, and I enjoy it. I'm looking forward to Speed Week this year. Like, I think we're gonna do some of that 410 Speed Week that's coming up to Dirt Cup.
Awesome.
And then we're gonna plan on do some of that WSC Speed Week, the Oregon Speed Week too. That should be fun. At least the northern one, that's for sure.
Sweet. Yeah. Luke's talking about the Western Sprint Tour, the WST. They have 2 speed weeks. One in July, which is starts at Grays Harbor, ends at Skagit, and then there's the southern one, starts at Cottage Grove and ends at Placerville, and they run Chico the night before. That's in August. That's going to be interesting how that plans out. It's going to be great to see some teams bouncing back and forth. And speaking of traveling, how tough was it? Obviously you're right across the border. Like, you're not like in Edmonton, like leagues away from the U.S.-Canadian border, but with all the restrictions and everything and all the wild and craziness of COVID, how tough was it to kind of basically sit out for a little bit?
Well, it was hard, right? Because during COVID, they had all that Thursday Night Thunder, so you're just sitting at home watching it, wishing you were there. And then there was a couple big races. There was a Dirt Cup we got to come down for. Mm-hmm. We had some help from ASCS. They got us a letter saying we were essential to the race program, so we got to actually go across the border and race down there for a Dirt Cup.
Sure.
That was a big help. Like, it was fun just to be able to get out and race. You know what I mean?
And for maybe some listeners in California, Midwest, or the East Coast, some people in the Pacific Northwest may be able to relate because, they know people. But how hard was that process to get, sometimes it's very difficult to get across the border anyways, just if you're coming to visit. Was it really tough? Like, you had to have the triplicate written orders, like, this is when I'm coming back, this is what I'm doing, all that stuff?
Yeah, basically, you had to dot your I's and cross your T's. Everything had to be set in stone. You had to have the proper paperwork, and there was, and then the quarantine time when you came home, that was a big problem too. You know, you're off of work and you just, it just, your 1 week trip turned into 2 or 3, you know?
Sure. And there was no issues, I assume?
No, we were all good, and we're just happy to be back to normal and basically get back to racing.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, no doubt. Outside of, the Road to Dirt Cup, the WST Speed Week, the northern version of it anyways, what else are you guys going to try and do this year? Are you going to stick close to Skagit? Are you guys going to try and run some stuff down south in the spring or in the fall? Have you guys formulated everything completely yet?
We haven't really got everything in order yet, but the plan is just to race basically all of Skagit's programs. So that's 15 410 races. We've upgraded our 410 program.
Nice.
So we got a new motor for this year. And then there's 10 360 shows there too. So basically there's 25 races right there.
Yeah.
Not including those Speed Week races. And then probably end of the year, we'll go down to Trophy Cup, run that. And then, I don't know, just we'll if we get all our stuff in order before the year starts, we might go down to Chico or do some of that. But we just got to get the schedule in order. But the plan is right now to run all of Skagit. And there's a whole bunch of races there.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And it's really cool. We've had previous episodes where we talked to guys that have ran. Well, Trey Stark's one of them, who was the champion last year. But bringing 410s back seemed like that was never going to happen again. That was done. That was over with. When the class was taken off as a weekly division in after 2015, somewhere thereabouts, and then to resurrect it, not just resurrect it, but decisively put it back together to where that it could successfully come back, not just throw 25 races at it and then, we'll see who shows up. Peter Murphy and the whole team at Skagit Speedway did a marvelous job of concentrating Dirt Cup weekend, Outlaw weekend, and then a couple of standalone single night shows. And here you are, you're going to be running the whole deal, which is going to be cool.
Yeah, we didn't really know what was going to happen when 410s came back to Skagit. We didn't know, we didn't want to invest, all the time and effort into a 410 program, but it seems like that's the way it's transitioning. So we're just building our program to suit Skagit Speedway, basically.
And yeah, and what was it like going out there for the first time running a full-blown 410? Was it like a boyhood dream come true?
Oh yeah, man, they're a different animal. They're awesome, fun to drive, and it's basically just fun, man.
Yeah, I've yet to see a 410 at Skagit, so I'm hoping that this year I will have a chance to see it. I've went to Silver Dollar before with 410s, and I think actually that was the last year they had them regularly. Then they went 360 after that, and I was just amazed. I was like, holy smokes! I thought I saw cars go fast and stuff, and until then. So I'm if there's one thing I'm really looking forward to, it's that. And because I don't get to see much 410 racing being in Oregon, but I think I saw more 410 racing last year than I have in my whole life. Well, no, I can't say that. Oh, let's just say I saw a lot of 410 racing last year.
Yeah, they're a different animal, man. They're fun to watch, fun to drive. It's just the premier racing. 410 racing is awesome.
Sure. Yeah, I was getting a little off tangent there because I think I saw 6 410 races between Hanford, Tulare, the four fastest days in motorsports, and we were looking at going to that. It's just kind of travel wise. You kind of just gotta do a bunch of there's a little bit of sitting around and it's a bunch of time out of your day or out of your week. Sure.
And then you're going back and forth through California, and it would have been cool to hit those 4 races, but
yeah,
it's just not in the plans for this year.
Yeah, no doubt. Talking about your race team, and we were talking about this off air before we began this interview. Dyer 98 Motorsports is in tribute of your late father-in-law, a great man whom we all dearly miss, Steve Dyer, and a big part of you racing, right?
Oh yeah, he was my supporter from day one, basically, in the whole sprint car scene. Steve Dyer, I was racing at Agassiz Speedway up here in Canada, and I was running a mini stock for a guy, Bob Abney Roofing. He owned the car, and we were just racing one night, and it rained out, and Steve was there, and I got to talking to him, and he was watching us race all night, and basically he asked me that night, he was like, do you want to come drive a sprint car? And I knew what pavement sprint cars were, but I didn't know what a dirt sprint car was. Never even been to a dirt track. And
sure.
I was like, me, young 18-year-old kid, I was like, let's go, let's drive. I was like, I'd love to, man.
Yeah.
So then he's like, okay, meet me at Hymac Industries, which the company he owned, to meet me there Monday, 8 a.m. So basically, met him there, shook his hand, started working for him, and that's how the whole deal started. He was out of sprint cars for a couple of years there, and then basically when we went and bought race car trailer, sprint cars, the whole 9 yards, and started racing. He did a bunch of traveling, running around, and he went back to Knoxville in '08, went there with him. And finally he got to the point where he was like, okay, I'm done. This is all you now. And basically threw me in a 360 sprint car.
Yeah.
Never been in anything but a mini stock before. And just threw me to the wolves, and the rest is history, man. We just been racing for, so it's over 10 years now, 12 years or something like that. So
yeah. Well, you didn't get ate by the wolves. That's the important part.
Yeah, exactly. We, there were some ups and downs there for sure. You know, there was a big transition getting up to speed, but I feel like now we're up to speed. We finally got some horsepower. That was a big part of the deal. We never really had the motors to compete before.
Sure.
But now we finally got some horsepower, and then, once you got that horsepower, you can qualify a little bit better, and then you're running up front. You're running with better people. You're learning more, and ever since then, it's just, getting way better.
Yeah. Well, and what's really cool too is I don't think a lot of people get to see this, especially if they never go to Skagit Speedway. But your trailer has a nice homage to Steve with photographs and highlighting his career from, kind of start to finish. That's so, and me as a person that just eats that stuff up with of history and all that, it's just amazing. And I just got to applaud you and, your lovely wife, Lisa, who's Steve's daughter, that is preserving his memory in such a wonderful and touching way.
Yeah. Steve always had all his garage was like that. He basically always told me, he's like, I have all these pictures, so back, stacks and stacks of pictures. He's like, what are they doing in the desk drawer? Put them on the wall so everyone can see them, right?
Yeah.
So that's, so basically that's what his shop was. You'd go in there. It was a little, maybe not even 800 square foot shop. And there was pictures from the ceiling to floor on every wall of different experiences from 1960 or 70 back at Langley Speedway all the way to present. And Lisa kind of picked and choose the best pictures that she thought would relate to people around Skagit Speedway and put them up in our trailer. And it's awesome to see everyone smile and talk about, remember that back in the day, remember this, remember that. And it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no doubt. And Lisa's been such a huge supporter of you and making sure that your career is going, because I guess the easiest thing that could have happened when Steve passed away is you guys could have just like, well, there's kind of our driving force, we can just call it a career, but you guys decided not to, and, full steam ahead.
Yeah, Lisa's my number one support her, man. She's got my back 100% on everything I want to do. She says, go for it, and kind of criticize me sometimes if I don't do it right. But
Yeah.
she got my back, and it's awesome, man. She's down for just keeping this legacy going. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And she reminds me so much of Steve. You know, like I was talking to her at one of the functions. I think it was the pit party before the big modified race. And I will swear on many things that I thought I was talking to him for a second, just the voice and, you know, like the smile and the eyes. I was like, oh man, you know, so it threw me off for a second.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They're the exact same people, man. They were two peas in a pod and two awesome people. Sure.
Exactly. And then, you know, some people can look at like, oh man, I can't talk to that person because it reminds me, but it's also a gift. You know, some of my children are that way with Steph, you know, like there's so many,
for sure.
There's times where it's like, oh my gosh, I thought I was talking to Stephanie for a second, but you know, there's two options. You can get mad and be like, don't talk to me. You know, you just, you know, be irritable and stuff, or be like, oh wow, I will forever remember those little things, you know?
Yeah. Take it in and just, harness it, you know, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, as far as like once the schedule is fully released, do you guys have a place that you're going to post that or publish it anywhere, like a team page, or if you guys are looking at doing an apparel run of any sort, is there a good way that people just, I guess, can follow team news or anything of that good business?
Yeah, just last year we started a 9A Motorsports Facebook page, so we'll be posting everything on there. And apparel, we got a run of T-shirts coming this year, so
sweet.
We'll finally get some apparel going.
There you go. Awesome. Yeah, that's going to be really cool. And as far as, you know, I know you mentioned Lisa, but any other people you want to send a shout out, you can thank Lisa again if you want. I mean, you know, score the free throws, right? Or any sponsors that you want to give a shout out to.
Yeah, well, actually, we got Pack Trucking that come on board this year. Jeff Needham, he's our crew chief this year, and he's come on board. And Richmond Engines has come on board this year, and he's a awesome guy, Jim Richmond. He's helped us a bunch on our motor side of things. And then Pro West Motorsports and Logical Auto Parts. Yeah, and Kench Brothers Racing. They've helped us for years, you know. Those Kench brothers, they're like family to me, man. Those guys have had my back since day one, and basically followed, you know, just basically helped me out through this whole racing program for all these years. Same with Danny Bullock. He helps me out in the shop and, you know, at the racetrack too. And if it weren't for all these people around me, there's no way we would have the success that we've had these last couple of years.
Awesome. Well, we're really looking forward to seeing what 2023 brings, and hopefully be seeing you a lot this year in 2023. And I really appreciate you coming on and doing this interview.
Awesome. It was nice talking to you, and I'm sure we'll see you a bunch this year.
Absolutely. Hey, and if you do good, well, not just if you do good, we'll be checking in on you throughout the year, so we might have a little bit of a progress report. So
that's awesome, Ben.
All right. Thanks, Luke.
Thanks, man. Talk to you soon.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to this latest episode of Getting Up to Speed with me, Ben Dethridge. We hope you enjoyed this program. We hope also that you hit the subscribe button and the like button, as that really helps things out, spreads things out. Be sure and share as well on social media so that more people can listen to these great interviews and from these great drivers. Getting Up to Speed is a production of Highside Racing Promotions. For more information, you can check it all out on Facebook at Highside Promotions.